started, oh God, a long time ago, when I was 5 probably. I did some things on Children's Hour, singing. There was a girl from Coppell and myself, and we used to win a lot of prizes singing at festivals in junior classes. And so we had a singing teacher called Mrs. McIntosh, who was a Dunfermline woman, and she had been a member of the Glasgow Orpheus Choir. And she came, her husband worked for the coal board, and they came to live in the big house in Coppell, you see, and they moved in here. And she didn't know what to do with her time, so she started giving singing lessons. And I was about, well, oh no, we'd be older than 5. I think I started when I was 6, because I'd been singing in school, for, you know, just singing anything in school. But she got us all interested, and she started sending us to musical festivals. And I've actually thrown a case of certificates, first prizes, second prizes, whatever, away, because I didn't know what to do with them all. And so we won prizes all over, and we won the Blackpool Rose Bowl. I won the Blackpool Rose Bowl, and then Evelyn won it another year, and then we sang together, and we won the Tudor trophies. It's in the book of Lancashire, but I'm in there as well. With all of us, we called the Merry Macs, and then we did madrigal singing. There was 8 of us, I think, and we sat round a table in the Opera House at Manchester with the judges, and an absolutely packed house. We had no music. I mean, nobody. They gave you a note, and you all started, and we all had different parts. It was part singing, madrigal singing. And we walked away with that as well. So that night we came home with about 7 trophies to Coppell. And it just went on, and we won everywhere. And then St Mary's at Chorley asked me to, would I like to audition for their Gilbert and Sullivan? So they were doing Iolanthe, and they wanted somebody young to play Iolanthe. And I was about 18 at the time. 17 or 18 at the time. The Queen of the Fairies. So I said, yeah, fine. So I went and did that, and then I did something else, gone to this, and then I got an audition for D'Oyly Carte. Leonard Green, somebody called Leonard Green, saw it and took me to Manchester for an audition over Crane's piano rooms in Manchester, in Deansgate there. That was where the auditions were. And so then I went away for 6 months with them, and I was understudy to Joyce Wright. And at the time, my father was very ill, and I was just 19, I think, just probably almost 20, and he died. I was 20 in the April, and he died on the 19th of May. And my mother had always been stone deaf, and my brother was 11, so I had to come home. I had to come home to more or less look after the family. So I brought my brother up and looked after my mum. And then I met Pete and started sort of going out with him. But I didn't know what to do with myself here. And so I went back and I did 1 or 2 little shows with St Mary's, and then somebody from Preston Musical Comedy Society had been to one of these, and he said to me, we need a Fiona in Brigadoon. Would you like to come and audition for us? So I said, right. So I did Fiona in Brigadoon. I did this woman in White Horse. I've not got those. I don't know where they've all gone. White Horse Inn. I didn't do the leading White Horse Inn because she's supposed to be a big fat woman, and Frau, whatever she is. But I did the second lead. Lilac Domino, they wanted a soubrette. Now he was with the Welsh Opera. They wanted that was the Harry Cross. I was petrified of him, mate, honestly. Talk about a producer, bloody hell. And he's put, once again, Wyn, thanks for an excellent performance. I know that you enjoyed yourself. You did know that I enjoyed myself, because this lad pursued me all over the bloody place. And that was, he was a lovely guy, actually. And that was me in that, you see. I played the naughty girl, in a way. That's from Donald Street, that's on television now. Wyn, you were just fabulous, from a good (olden) to a good young, and he's put there. I think I was about 22 or something like that at the time. But I really could have made it, I think, had circumstances been different, but they weren't. So, and I didn't get married until my brother was through into an apprenticeship. So it was a long time, because he was 11 when my dad died. And then I met, from doing that, I met Roy Barraclough. And Roy Barraclough was doing, in rep, I know, was doing rep, and he wanted to do The Boyfriend, and he contacted me and he said, I want you to do Polly for me and The Boyfriend in rep. And I said, oh, that'll be good. So I did that, and I don't know, it just took off. Then, you see, then I got married and he didn't like me being away. I was still singing professionally, but he didn't like me being away. So I used to, that's when I joined, in 1960 then, I got married in 1960. And I joined Chorley Little Theatre. They just moved into this new theatre at that time. And that's what I've done ever since, except, as I'd say before, I still do professional singing.
Right. Whereabouts do you, whereabouts do you do that?
Well, I've been on Radio Lancashire quite a few times, and I do, especially around Christmas, we do the tinsel and turkey things at, have you not heard of them?
No.
Well, what they do is they, for the whole month of December, you can book a week into a hotel or 4 or 5 days, and during that time, if you want to get away for a while on your own, sort of thing, couples and that, and you get the whole thing. You get a Christmas Eve, a Christmas Day, and a Boxing Day in the hotel. You get all the, the turkey and the lot and everything, and it's all trimmed up, and they have artists. So we are the artists for the residing week, and where have I been to? This time I was at Eves Hall at near Skipton there, wherever it is. And it's great, and the money's good, and I love it, and I thoroughly enjoy myself. And I enjoy singing. I love singing, singing proper, as I call it, and so I still do it. You see. Salad Days. I played the lead in Salad Days. And unfortunately, Kay Brown had more or less cast that when I turned up at the theatre that day. She'd more or less promised Marjorie Howarth, I'll never forget it, the lead. Marjorie had always taken the lead, you see. And I turned up and sang the song. Pure bloody consternation everywhere, and then so she came to me. I saw her take Marjorie out. I didn't know who this girl was at all. And then she came back and said, would I play the lead? And this girl was in tears in the bar, and I didn't know what was going on. Anyway, then we did, after that, that was... what did I say it was? It wasn't bloody Salad Days, what did I? It was the I Want a Man from the Mainland. I sang that for that audition. What the hell was it? It's a long time ago. Jeepers. No, wait a minute. Salad Days make me an offer. Little Mary Sunshine. I played I was Matahari in Little Mary Sunshine. Hardly an awful lot of clothes on. I always had good legs. So they were always, I did. I mean, it was just one of those things. What was the first one? Oh, do you know, I can't remember. Tony Callender played opposite me. Tony, which is Barry's brother, he played opposite me. He played the racing driver. I don't know, but it's sort of, I think my very first play, because nobody thought I could act. I'd only done musicals up to then. I'd done things for Roy Barraclough and stuff like this, and at Preston Playhouse and things like this, and I'd done 1 or 2 shows at Blackpool and everything, but I'd never really had a serious acting part as such. They were nearly all musicals and Airy Fairy and God knows what. So Derry Shelton cast me because I wanted to try a play. I've been dying to try a play because I'd always acted everywhere else, but K-Das decided I was a singer and that was it. And they were doing something called the Tunnel of Love, and they wanted this girl who was more or less would appear in a very pretty dress, and then she was pregnant. Every time, he bought her a nice dress and then he got her pregnant. But it was only a small part. Katie Cross was the lead. And I thoroughly enjoyed myself. And so I started to audition for more things. And then, I can't remember. Some of them are here. These are. That's South Pacific. Now, this is Joe Cable. That's Malcolm Roberts, who was on, he was a pop singer at some time, really. That's Mavis Rogerson who played. That's me as Nellie.
And where was this? Was this at the theatre?
This was at the Gaumont in
I was going to say, I don't remember ever...
The Gaumont, the big Gaumont that's, I don't know what it is now, but it used to be the Gaumont in Preston, right opposite, right on the front there. Are they still? I don't know what they are. Oh, it was a brilliant cast though. They were absolutely super. They were, honestly, the lot of them. They were great. I loved every minute of it. We had a great time. I stayed in. We were paid for this, you see, even though they were amateurs. They paid professionally the leads, and we all stayed in a hotel, a hotel in Preston, going down the hill there. I think it belonged to Fitchett's. I've forgotten what it was called now. Fitchett's Fetch It in Preston. It belonged to them, and the Fitchett used to be a member there, and
So I take it you were in Wyn Tootell Society, or
I was in a load. I used to get. Now that's when I won my first. Finoda. I think that was my first trophy. I'll show you the. That was when I was in London. That's me and Brian on telly. I've done a lot of things,
What was the telly?
Television.
No. What
was it was A Star Is Born on for a Times television. That was my second trophy with Noda. So a few. This was me. This was in London. Oh Jesus, yes. They built this costume onto me. I was Laloo in Kismet in London. That's going back some. That was The Merry Widow. It's the same. That. What was this? What the hell was this? This was about where they sing the no wonder I can't remember. That was with Dorothy Carter. That was when I was understudy to Joyce Wright. And these used to be outside the theatre. And these.
Is Joyce Wright somebody I should know?
No, you won't. You won't know her. But she was the principal lead singer with Dorothy Carter at that time. She did all the mezzo leads, and she was married to Peter Pratt, who did all the comic things, and they were awful. They were always falling out and throwing things at each other across the corridor. You never knew whether you had to duck or dive. These again were things that went outside in the theatre. The things that. That's me and Vernon Roberts. Rose's husband, and I forget who the other girl was. I think she was there the other night. She came the other night. I'm just trying to find. That again, that was on. That's another from telly. That's something else. That was Call Me Madam. That was Hello Dolly.
Gosh, John Johnson.
I know.
Is that David at the back?
Yeah, with his moustache. That was when I first met him. Look at me on this one. This is when I played this awful, that's the best play I've ever been in. I played this dirty, bloody old woman, and it was awful. And what they did to me in that, I even practiced walking sort of bow-legged, because they said Kay Brown said my legs were too good, so we'd have to do something with them. So she said they blocked my stockings, and it was awful, honestly. And that's me there, and 3 gangsters move in with her, and they insure her life, and they can't kill her. She's unkillable. But unfortunately they killed the bloody cat. And that's the scene from that. That's me, that or the little woman in the middle there.
And what was that called?
Everybody Loves Opal. This was every evening, any day, you'll find them all doing the lumber walk. What the bloody hell was it called? But it was hilarious, that really was hilarious. That wasn't So to Bed.
Gosh, really?
I know. Yeah. That was King and I. As was this. Looked like a little doll there. Look at David's. God, he had a physique. Jesus wept. If you could have sung the King, you would have been brilliant. That was this one. I think that one was called Don't Start Without Me. That's me and Pat Taylor. What was that one called? This was the Dylan Thomas, that was when we did Under Milkwood, and we all just sat in chairs and you stood up to do your own characters. That was it. That was a professional one, you can tell with the scene. I think that was because that's Joseph Ward from the Carl Rosa with me. He played opposite me in that one. That was White Horse Inn, I think. That's Pat Taylor. Do you remember? You don't remember David Bastow, do you?
I've never met him, no.
Well, that's David Bastow behind there. That's Vernon Roberts, me and Pat. Again, can't remember what the hell the thing was called. That's me and David in Carousel. That was Guys and Dolls. That's me in the middle. This was, they said we'd never do this in Chorley because there wouldn't be anybody to play Irma LaDouce, but I did. I danced it, sang it, and I've also played at Velma Kelly at Wigan Little Theatre in Chicago. You know the part that
Is it Cat and Susie Jeff?
Yeah. Yeah. That was the first time round of The Boyfriend, I think. Yeah, The Boyfriend. 1978-79.
Where was that?
Here.
That was at Chorley.
That was at Chorley. Yeah, that's the same time thing. Or was that the second time I played it? Probably, I can't remember. That was, again, that's a very old one. I think I was only about 22, but I think that's... But yeah, that's before they could cut my hair off, or I cut my hair off. I cut my hair off for South Pacific, it used to be really long. And that was, they plaited it for that. That was Stupid Prince, as we used to call it. Look at me and Tom Lane there. Did you ever see it like that in your life?
What was this one?
I don't know, I'm the bloody clue. These were all from the the proper stage version, you know, a proper show of carousel. Yeah, we even had a full-size carousel on stage.
What was Carousel about?
Billy Bigelow, carousel. Well, it starts off with the carousel, and he's the guy that says roll up, and you know he runs the carousel. But he's supposed to be really good looking, and all the girls are balmy about him. So these two girls, Carrie and Julie, Carrie wants to see him, so she takes Julie along with her, and Julie's very quiet and doesn't. But she's deep, and he falls for Julie, and of course he marries her, and he's a no good. He really is a no good. And of course, in the end, he and Jigger Craigan try to rob somebody, and he gets killed. And it's absolutely a superb show because he's done a bad thing. She can't see him, nobody can see him, but he comes back to see his daughter. Heaven lets him come back to see her, to see how his daughter's grown, and to see Julie again. But she doesn't see him. She hears his voice. It's a gorgeous story, you know. Honestly, I go cold thinking about it. And that's when he sings, you know, You'll Never Walk Alone. Oh, it's lovely, it is. Oh, it's superb. God, look at that bloody thing. I don't know when these have all been taken. I think that's sort about it. No, it's not. No, I don't know what the hell it is. That is Brigadoon. Look at the size of that bloody stage. When I think now what we work on, that's Brigadoon. I know. What does it say on the back?
These were taken from the audience during the performance on Saturday night.
Oh, right. Very good.
Next says, when are you going to think of marriage for yourself? Oh, when are you going to think of marriage?
Oh, right.
Fiona, when I find someone who makes me think about it. Meg, and you've never found anyone up to know who makes you think of it. Fiona, no. You see, I didn't just want to get married. I think you should only do it when ye and your lad.
When ye are your lad.
The story.
So much.
Oh,
I don't know, mate.
Or want to stay together fiercely.
Yeah.
And getting married is the only way you can do it. That's respectful. I take it these are lines from the play, are they?
Yeah. Yeah. What the hell? That's Roy Brooks in the middle there.
He's another one I've never met. I've never met Roy Brooks.
He's our chairman.
I know, I've never met him.
Yeah, that's from Brigadoon as well, I think. God, I think now the scenery and things like that, they were absolutely fabulous.
Where was Brigadoon?
Where was Brigadoon, first of all? I did it in Preston. But then I did it in Hull for something, for some professional company in Hull, and I did it. I've done the Merry Widow about 4 times. God, I've done the Merry Widow so many different places, and I hate the bloody thing, but it's a damn good singing part, and it's a lovely acting part as well. But it's just the opening of that, because the first time she appears on stage, you know, you have a line of men, and she appears at the top of a staircase, and they all say it's the widow, the Merry Widow, or the Old Downs, or that is. And as she walks onto stage, the first thing she does, she hits a top A. Which, you know, if you're not feeling too great, she sort of goes, ah, dee, 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 and it goes on, and then it's such a beautiful singing part. I can still sing, you know, even at my age. There's one of somewhere. Now that's Roy Brooks. You're not recognising now. That's an older Roy Brooks.
No, I've never met the guy.
That was in So to Bed. This was Nancy in Oliver. There's not so many parts I haven't played actually. I know. Oh God, that was. I hated It's a beautiful thing to do under Milton, but it was the way we had to do it. Just sit all night long. Graham Jones and me, we had a ball in this one. It was called Don't Start Without Me. Oh, he was good. He was so funny as well. We lost a lot of fellas, really. We just...
What was that one about?
Oh, Don't Start Without Me. Well, he took me home to meet his parents, and his dad fell for me. And I can remember Katie Cross was in that. Katie Cross was the mother, and I'm older than Katie a year, but she was the mother, and Brian Franklin was the father, and he was the son, and I was the girlfriend. And I had to appear on stage in a towel at one stage, and Katie had to swoon, and so I had to go and get changed. But what I did put on was a little tiny pair of baby doll pajamas, and I came back on stage, and she said, "I think I prefer the towel." It was a farce, but it was so funny. And it was Move Over Mrs. Markham. That's what it was called, Move Over Mrs. Markham. Because I wouldn't mind doing that, because I wouldn't mind directing that, because there's such a lot of good parts. There's about 4 or 5, there's 4 men's parts and I think 4 women's parts. It's a brilliant play, absolutely brilliant play. We packed the theatre and we've also done Stepping Out. I tap dance as well. I had to tap dance because I was in Chicago. I was a dancer as well. What else have I done at Wigan? I played Maine at Warrington. What else did I do with Warrington? First thing. Camelot. That was with, I can never say it, no, West Hall, it wasn't West, it was Loughton. With Loughton, whichever way you want to say it, with Loughton. I did that. Guys and Dolls with them as well. Saturday Night at the Crown I did with Wigan. Played the Tart with the Heart in that. What else did I do? Oh yeah, Glass Menagerie. They came to see it at Chorley, and I won the award for Glass Menagerie. And then they asked me would I do the same part at Wigan. And I'd said when I came off stage after Glass Menagerie, never, ever will I touch that part again, because it was enormous. Oh, jeez. And she was this woman who lived in the past, not like this one tonight, but even more so. She had she had a daughter who was handicapped, and she wanted to marry her off, and she kept getting her son to bring young men home to meet her daughter, and this daughter played with these little glass animals on a table, and the mother she'd been at a Southern Belle when she was young, and she still dressed like it, and she still talked about it, and it's a beautiful thing. It's Tennessee Williams, of course, goes on and on, but but that's the one that's up in the bar with me leaning over a girl. If you look, you see the glass animals. It was Tina McIntyre herself.
Do you know, I always thought that was Liz.
What?
On that picture.
The one stood up?
No, not the one stood up. I knew that was you. The one over there. It looks like she's over a piano.
She's not. She's bending over a table with little glass animals on. You looked at that. Yeah. Oh, then got the award for, what was that?
Gypsy.
Gypsy Road. Yeah, Gypsy. That's right, Gypsy. I've done a lot. I mean, I've been very fortunate. I've had ups and downs in my life, but it's all been worth it because I've had a heck of a life. I've had a super life. I've had a talent that's given a lot of pleasure to a lot of people, and I'm very grateful for. I doubt myself now because I'm getting older, and I think, Jesus, can I do this anymore or whatever? But I do. I mean, I do doubt myself dreadfully. I do. I can't help it. I've always stood in the wings, it doesn't matter what I've been doing, and thought, what the hell am I doing here? This is masochism. Honestly, I have. Unless it's been a rip-roaring comedy, which I've thoroughly romped through every night and enjoyed myself doing it, you know. But something like this, I'm knackered every night to come off stage.
It's quite an emotional bit for you.
Oh, dear me. Oh, God. And Lorraine's mum on last night. Was it last night? Yeah. Did you read the bad last night?
I was, yeah.
Do you not know Lorraine's mum?
No.
You know Lorraine, don't you? Well, her mother's not as big as me. And she came to me and she's really broad and she said, "Hey, you should all be on telly." she said, "You should all be on telly, they're not as good as you lot." Oh my God, help me. That's what I tell her, Lorraine. She said, I said, "Well, your Lorraine will be coming, won't she?"
Has Lorraine not had a baby yet?
Yeah, of course she has.
Because she was late when she was...
Hey, what do you mean? She had it. It was in the bar last Friday night.
That was her baby? Oh,
yes. Right. She's still quite big because she had a cesarean. It takes a long, long time to get your figure back when you've had a cesarean. Because you can't do the exercises. You can't, when I had Michael, I came out in a size 10 suit because I was determined, no way was I going out looking like that. I'd had enough of that. I used to pass myself in shop windows and go, ooh. Play, I did enjoy Everybody Loves Opal. It was they'll never do it again because it's set in a rubbish dump. And of course we had to import all the rubbish and put it on the stage. Getting rid of it afterwards was awful. But yeah, I enjoyed that. Everybody Loves Opal. People still talk about that because of the cat, Maureen Loudon's cat. There was another one as well. Saturday Night at the Crown. That was another killer. That was incredible. I played this awful woman who, her husband never spoke. In fact, he said 2 words and that was at the end of the play and everybody applauded. But she never shut up. She was awful. And it was right Lancashire and she never shut up. And it was it's very funny. And they've all been to a funeral. And it's the do after the funeral at the Crown pub. And it's all in the tap room. It takes place, you see, in the pub. And they're fighting about who's going to have what, you know. And one of my lines, "Well, I don't care, she could have the bloody piano." So, I can't remember what it was about now, but oh dear me, it's so funny. And there's it's set again during the war years, and there's one woman in it that, like there used to be, who's been going out with the Yanks and they all talk about her. She's it's a very good play, but as I say again, it's dated now. But honestly, some of these old plays are fantastic. They really are. They really are. No, not really. I wouldn't have auditioned if I'd not wanted to do them. I think I felt I'd bitten off more than I could chew when we got into Glass Menagerie. David Bastow was the director, and if you read the little write-up under the thing in the theatre, you'll see what a thing it was. It was incredible to do, and I don't think Tennessee Williams is easy to do. He's got such a twisted mind. I think that gave me more misgivings than anything. I used to shake. We used to sit at the table on stage. It was like a 2-tier. The sort of hall or the lounge was down there, and the dining room was a sort of inset on a thing, and it started at the dining room. And we used to sit there. There was Dean Taylor, who was my son. I was the mother. And Tina McIntyre was the daughter. That's right, I had a son and a daughter. And we'd sit ready to start this meal when the curtains opened. The 3 of us used to be shaking. I used to say, "Why are you doing It was awful. It was, you knew that once you were on, I knew that I had 10-minute when I wasn't on stage, and that was all, in the hall, and it was 3 hours. Well, started at 7:30 and finished about 10:15. It was a marathon of words and everything else. It really is a marathon. And that's why I said, when I finished that, I said, I will never ever do this play again. And then the Wigan asked me, and it was somebody called Frank Wright, who was the director, and because I thought, well, I've done it once, maybe it'd not be hard to remember, to learn, it's not too long ago. But he wanted it entirely different. He saw this woman and her son and daughter. He didn't see them as real people. He saw them as sort of parodies of the Virgin Mary, this woman as Mary, and her son as Jesus, and the other girl, and the girl as Mary Magdalene. And how the hell we ever got through rehearsals, I will never know, because it was still the same language, it was still the American, and it was still the Deep South that we had to do. But he had me play it totally and utterly differently, and I'm never quite sure that it came off, but Wigan audiences seemed to love it. I know Chorley audiences loved it, but whether they would have liked the Wigan version, I don't know. But it just shows how two different directors saw it in completely and utterly different ways. I used to do all the pantomimes. I mean, they were great then, because I used to teach them all the dancing and the singing and whatever. We always had an opening chorus, and we never had piped music. We had Frank Fielding with his organ that does everything. It sounds like an orchestra. So we always had live music and the things, and we never ever had an empty seat. And I can remember then that we had people standing down the sides. You're not allowed to now because of the fire regulations, but they were hanging from the rafters, people to come in. And I also directed Oklahoma. That's a good show. I've directed Guys and Dolls, not down there, but for somebody else. I've directed Camelot for somebody else. Steel Magnolias. I was in it and directed it at the same time. What a cast we had. Katie Cross played the Dukakis woman, but Olympia Dukakis in the actress. Well, Katie Cross and her, honest to God, the ringers for each other. So Katie played the part she played. I played the part that honestly, no wonder I forget it now, my mind's gone. There was me, Katie, Liz, Brenda Bartlett. That was her first part. And Siobhan, who lives in America now. Siobhan. There were the five of us. And it was brilliant. It was a hell of a cast. And we all got on. And they all took direction from me. It was just a hell of a success. It really was. The picture in there is what they bought me of the it says from your Steel Magnolias, and it's got the date on. I've directed The Boyfriend down here. That's when I had my heart attack. I was in it as well. It'll be 3 years coming up. 3 years. I was fine. Never had anything wrong with me at all. I was singing, dancing on stage, having a ball. All I could think was somebody, Greenie, had said to me one night, what are you doing? I said, I don't know. I said, I think it's like heartburn. I said, I keep getting heartburn. I said, it's kind of heartburn, like when you're pregnant. And she said, well, I wouldn't know. And I said, well, it is. It's sort of hot in your throat. It's like reflux. And the night before, on the Wednesday night when we did the show, she said, have you got that heartburn? I said, yeah, it's really bothering me. I said, it's a damn pain. I said, I'll take something when I get home. Anyway, I went in the bar, we had a good night and went in the bar. And the following morning, it wouldn't go away, this bloody heartburn. And I thought, well, maybe I had too much to drink last night. So I took some milk and magnesia, and it didn't go away. So I thought, well, probably I'm hungry. So I had
A boiled egg.
scrambled egg. God, honestly. Then I started to feel, I've never had a chest pain. Started to hurt behind my arms and down my jaw. And I suddenly thought, I know, go and look at yourself in the mirror. And I was all blue. And I knew then that that's what it was. So I rang the doctor and they couldn't see me today, you know what they're like. So I took myself, got in the car, got myself dressed, put some things in the car and went. Drove myself there. So anyway, so I'm fine now. And I wondered, after that, I thought, well, maybe I won't do so much after this. People said, oh, you have to be careful now. And I thought, no, I can't be careful. I can't live like that. I don't want to live like that. So, and the first thing I did after a heart attack was take guilty. And it was only just after, because it's 2 years since that. Oh yeah, she said, we have a triage nurse now. She said, so if you leave your number, we will ring you after the surgery. And I thought, yeah, fine. Probably haven't got till after the surgery. Oh, God.
But you collapsed, didn't you, once you got to the hospital, is it?
No. What happened was on the... that was a Thursday. They got me on drips and all things straight away. Because, with a heart attack, speed is of the essence. Because the longer it goes on, the more damage it does to your heart. Because your heart's only a muscle and an oil cell. And I was doing fine, and they all rang me up on the Saturday night from this show. They rang me on the Davies mobile. They were all saying hello. The nurse brought the telephone across to me, and then on the Sunday morning, I could see that they were watching somebody on a monitor, because our monitors are behind us, but they have like a console with everybody's monitor on, in the coronary care ward. And I was due to be moved out that day into another ward. And I thought, they brought a guy in the night before, and he was next to me. And I thought, oh, poor bugger, he must be in a bad way. So I got out of bed and went to see if he was all right. And I said, do you want a chocolate biscuit? Anyway, they said, get back into bed, Windsor. I said, why, what's the matter? They said, nothing, we just want you to get back into bed. I said, I'm fine. I said, I've just got a bit of heartburn, that's all. I said, I've just eaten a bun that John Hadaway brought me with some marmalade, homemade marmalade. I said, it's probably that. Anyway, just then David walked in. And I thought, what's he doing here? It was only 9 o'clock on a Sunday morning. He pretended that he'd brought a present from the gang the night before. But as he got to the bed, 2 ambulance men walked in and the doctor. And they came over to me and they said, we're moving you to Blackpool. I said, what now? And they said, yeah, we have to get you there as soon as we can. And they have to tell you. Now, once David was there and they had a witness, they had to tell me that they didn't know whether I'd make it to Blackpool. And the ambulance men all the way there, and I knew them, you see, because I worked with them, were saying to me, one of them was holding my hand and saying, you're okay when you get back into his watch. We're nearly there now, we'll not be so long. And the siren was going like hell, and I think the only one who didn't panic was me. David was following in the car, and I said to them, you don't need to look at your watches, I'm not going anywhere. I said, I've got a grandson in America that I've not seen and I'm going in September. I was a little, this one, they have to shove him in the middle to keep him quiet. Anyway, they got me there, and the team were waiting. We got all the team out. And Dr. Brack, the surgeon, said I was going straight into theatre. and he said, you know, we need you to sign this now, Wyn. And I said, oh, I'll sign it when I come out. And he said, I'm afraid we have to tell you that you might die during the procedure. So they left David outside the theatre. I told him to come home. And I went in knowing that. And then they told me the real bad news. There was no anaesthetist. It was bank holiday. It was bank holiday Sunday. Trying to get me up the motorway on a spring bank holiday Sunday was hell. David said it was incredible. People, you know, cars were just shifting out the way. And that's how I went into theatre. And they did the whole 6 1/4 hours on a local, just kept pumping it into me. I was black from there to there. I bruised from there to there. But it's worked. I mean, it's brilliant. Absolutely brilliant.
What's they done? Because I'm not familiar with...
What they did was they put, it's a new thing. It's an American thing, but Blackpool was pioneering at the time. They used to do what they called a little umbrella thing, that they opened up the artery, but it wasn't. It could always close, and you were back where you started. Well, with me, what they did is they opened the heart and they put a titanium stent into the heart, so that it can never, the valve now can never close. It works like a little satellite. And they show it you, they showed it me afterwards. They have it in like a magnifying glass, if you will, so that you can see what it really looks like, but it's only tiny when it's in you. But they have a magnified one to show you what it's like. And it's made of titanium, and it just looks like a little satellite. And it's in your heart.
So that's keeping you tickety.
That keeps me going alright, yeah. Mind you, he did say to me, when I was coming out, and I was saying to him, he said, now, is there anything you want to ask me? And I said, yeah. They'd always say, will I be able to do this, will I be able to do that, whatever. I said, can I drink the wine? And he said to this little guy with him, now this one's a survivor. He said, yes, you can. He said, you can drink wine. He said, need you to be careful about seafood and things like this. Prawns are 100% cholesterol, and yours is heart disease. So you're making cholesterol faster than you can get rid of it. So I said, we need to cut down on your cholesterol. That's why I'm on this pravastatin, that's this wonder drug. I take it before I come to the theatre at night. I take 6 in the morning and 1 at night. He said, because the rest of your heart isn't perfect. It's the other big artery is 50%. That's all you've got left is 50%. But the other is sort of 25% furred up, so that's okay. He said, but it should keep you going for another 40 years. I said, oh, well, that's all right then. So, that was quite exciting, I'll tell you. The following morning, I'm trying to sit up, and she came in, he said, what are you doing? I said, I'm trying to sit up, I want to comb my hair. He said, blimey, what are you bothered about your hair for? I said, I am. I said, if I get visitors, I'm not going to look like this. Oh, God. It was an experience. Life's full of them.
So after that was dead guilty.
Yeah.
You had a bit of a rough time through that as well.
Oh, God. It was down in the middle. I don't know how I got through that. I don't. And I was committed. There was nothing I could do. I know his relatives thought, what on earth is she doing the play for? But there was nobody could have took over from me. There wasn't anybody, and I'd never let anybody down in my life like that. Then I did. What came after that?
When we were married. I think
That's right.
That's the next one.
When we were married. God, I've forgotten that one. We did. That's it. That was in the June, wasn't it? Yeah, that's right. And I didn't do anything for a bit, I think, until... Oh, Annie. I did Annie, of course, Miss Hannigan. I did Annie. And then I did the thing that...
Hay fever.
Hay fever. Hay fever.
Tell me about that.
Hay fever?
Yeah.
Well, he wanted it so fast and furious. He wanted every line had to be absolutely perfect diction. Did you see it? And so fast and furious, you know. That, I mean, you didn't get time to think. You hadn't time to think at all. And every day I used to sit at that table for all morning just with the script. And then when we found out that he was doing it with these mirrors, I mean, you know, you move on stage and you catch sight of yourself, and it was really off-putting. And we had to play it to the mirrors. That's the way he wanted it. Now, I'd done it before when somebody else had directed it. I think it was... Oh, God, I can't remember his name now. He's dead. And it should be a house. It should be a beautiful drawing room. But we didn't. We had a bloody tree at the back and all these mirrors, you see. I mean... Oh, my God. And I was playing another part. I played Myra the first time, the part that Denise played. And now, because Katie played the lead. And I thought, oh my God, what's he doing it like this for? When I realised what he was doing, and that he was going to have me out sitting in the audience at one point as well. No, I didn't like that. I mean, I liked the play, and I enjoyed it in the end, but when I didn't like the idea that I was going to have to sit out into the audience, and I didn't like the idea of the mirrors at all. It drove me crackers. It really threw me dreadfully. I mean, when we got through that first night, I was so relieved it wasn't true. Mind you, I was at this one as well. I don't have a lot of confidence in myself, do I? And then we did Playboy, of course. Yeah.
But
it was a shame, was Playboy, really. A really big shame, because you were excellent. You really were. I think you have an awful lot of potential. There's an awful lot more to you than you think.
What did you think about When We Were Married? Because you've done that before, haven't you?
Yeah. I enjoyed it. I mean, I enjoy something like that. I enjoyed When We Were Married because it's a relaxation, really, isn't it? Mm. When you think about it, it is. It's just fun. So I love things like that. I like to do something like we're doing now occasionally, but when it starts I think, what the hell am I doing it for? You know, every night I stand there and I think, oh, I've got to go through all that again. Why am I doing this? It's stupid. Last night was fine. I just hope tonight will be fine. I've got to go through my script yet. I will do. I'll go and get in the bath and do my hair and do my script.
So you go through it every night?
Every day. Something like this I do. Because it's... To go wrong on an emotional bit in this would be a disaster. It doesn't really matter at the beginning, like the other night when I completely dried it. It's only ever happened to me once before that. And my mouth went completely and utterly dry. So much so that my top lip was stuck to my teeth. And I couldn't get the words out. Monday night, I walked on stage and Alan he did it with somebody else last night. You know, nobody ever thinks Alan goes wrong. He missed out last night, or when he was doing with the apples, I remember thinking, he's missed all that chunk out about. And he'd gone right down to somewhere else. And I walked on stage on Monday night, and he threw me the second question. Or I said something, and he threw me the second answer. Because if you remember, if you were listening, I didn't get Minnie scoured that pail with boiling water last night. It's cleaner than your teeth. I had to cut straight down to, if you make up your mind that every bag in the kitchen isn't full of garbage. I mean, mine was going like and suddenly, you know, the adrenaline, and for me now with my condition, the adrenaline kicked in and took all my saliva. And it was stuck. And I knew I had all that lot to say. And I'm down it, and I'm doing this, I'm sort of trying, no more roses, and I'm trying to lip, you know, to get some saliva in me. It was frightening. I said, but it doesn't matter because the audience never know. They don't know. They haven't a clue what's going on. Well, haven't they? I mean, we haven't a clue half a bloody time, have we? I mean, somebody will say, I missed that, and I said, did you? I don't know whether they did it. And the other night, for us, on the veranda, when we were stood there, we both looked at her because she didn't come in with he has no appetite.
I really wish I hadn't looked at her.
We both did.
Because it made it so obvious that we were waiting for her to say something.
But I couldn't go on if she didn't, because that's when I said, well, if he ate in my house, he'd have an appetite. I pity your husband. And we both went. She said, I was sitting there quite just dreaming. I said, yeah, I've done it. I've sat there I sat there enjoying just enjoying what's going on stage, and I suddenly thought, there's a pot. Oh, it's me. Oh, God. Cut me out on the Monday night, for God's sake, at the beginning, because it was awful. I really was stuck. You'll see. I kept doing that. Because Katie came at the end and she said to me, God, she said, I felt for you. She said, that one's happened to me. She said, I knew what was happening. She said, I knew what had happened. She said, you'd no saliva. I just said, no, my mouth went completely and utterly dry. It's terrifying. And it can happen. It happens to actors because suddenly something happens. And if you adrenaline cuts in too quickly, it takes all your saliva. And you try singing Velia with your lips stuck to, and it was Velia, Velia, and I couldn't get to tell them. Derry Shelton did it an awful long time ago at Kados, and Cicely Ainsworth was in it, who the board is too. And it was such a good play. It was so hilarious that I always wanted to be in it, because it's what I call a romp. It's fun. So I thought, well, nobody's going to do it, and they wanted a play, so I thought, well, I'll do it. I'll direct it, and that's the only reason, really. Nothing special, because I had been trying to find Move Over Mrs. Markham, and somebody was saying, oh, we've not got enough men for Mrs. Markham, and I said, yeah, we are. That, I mean, we have now, so I think for next year I'll just put it in. I will. Oh, I directed My Fair Lady as well. It was brilliant, it was gorgeous. I directed that Star Theatre, and my only thing in life is that I didn't ever get to play Eliza. And I would have loved to play Eliza. I missed, every time somebody was doing it, I wasn't around, you know what I mean? And by the time that they were doing it at Chorley, I was directing it. So that was the end of that. I was too old to play Eliza. So that's the only thing that I would have loved to do. There's no play that I hate to do, not really. I don't think so. Anything that comes up, anything now is a bonus for me. You never know, do you? So anything's a bonus, living's a bonus. What the hell?